What if Obi-Wan was discovered by a clone, who is now a stormtrooper? This is a fan comic made by me. If Disney won't tell these stories, then I will do it for the fans. As we know, Obi-Wan went into exile on Tatooine, protecting Luke from afar. One day he needed to go to the market on Mos Eisley, traveling through the cliffs and the desert. He finally makes it to the entrance of the city, and he notices something weird, that the city has been almost dispersed. Most of the locals have gone inside. Traveling a bit further, again he only sees a few people, and Obi-Wan already starts to suspect what usually brought this on. This was the presence of the Empire. His hunch was of course correct, because behind him a patrol of stormtroopers were scouring the area. In what later Obi-Wan would learn that they had gotten a tip. Making haste, Obi-Wan travels through the market where he could blend in with the other people. This time though, the patrol was intense. A lot of stormtroopers everywhere, and they appeared in front of the path of Obi-Wan, who quickly turned his face away and entered this market. Unbeknownst to him, he had already been discovered. He enters the store, looks around for junk, trying to make any excuse not to go outside until Imperial presence has been cleared. He makes pretend that he is scouring for some parts, while at the same time keeping his ear to the ground, trying to reach out with the Force as much as possible. It had been many years since he had used the Force. Before he could leave though, he thought to himself that he would need an excuse, a valid excuse why he was here, and he found a part that he actually could use back at his home. So he picked up the part and went to haggle with the store owner, trying to make this as real as possible. If he acquires this part, and if he gets stopped by stormtroopers, he could have a valid excuse. Now, because his Force abilities had diminished while he was haggling, he didn't notice that stormtroopers had already entered the store, and in particularly one of them was making his way towards Obi-Wan specifically. Another stormtrooper tries to inspect all the customers. Obi-Wan notices this and turns his head away from the stormtrooper, again trying to escape as quickly as possible and as sneakingly as possible. Unfortunately, just as Obi-Wan thinks he has made a quick escape from that stormtrooper, another one is waiting for him at the exit. Now Obi-Wan is in clear danger. He tries to cover his face as much as possible because he sees that this stormtrooper is adamant in questioning him. He is approaching slowly, and he has that look to him. There is nowhere to go but confront him. This stormtrooper finally addresses Obi-Wan. "You there," says the stormtrooper. "Don't move." As he approaches the secret Jedi, Obi-Wan had one more trick left up his sleeve, and he used it. He raised his hand and tried to use a mind trick on the stormtrooper, something that he had done previously with success. But this stormtrooper was not going for it. Obi-Wan definitely thought that he was done for, but the stormtrooper lowered his weapon, approached Obi-Wan, and it seemed like he was stunned and amazed at the same time. "Is there anything I can do for you?" says Obi-Wan politely. The stormtrooper can barely hold himself together. His voice is shaking. He tells Obi-Wan, "I know what you are trying to do, sir. Mind tricks won't work on an old soul like myself, General Kenobi." The cat is finally out of the bag. Obi-Wan is completely shocked. His face felt like stone. He had been discovered. "How did you know that?" "You," says Obi-Wan, working on intuition. "You are a clone trooper." From the sheer anxiety, the clone almost fainted if it wasn't for Obi-Wan catching him and keeping him conscious. "Do not collapse now," says Obi-Wan. "If you do, the other stormtroopers will think I attacked you. Get it together, please, for the sake of both of us." The clone assured Obi-Wan that he was going to be okay. It was only the shock of seeing his former general again. "Identify yourself, clone," says Obi-Wan. Indeed, he was a clone, former clone trooper of the 212th Battalion. He goes on to tell Obi-Wan that he was Canon, a very familiar name to Obi-Wan since he led him into battle. And in fact, Canon reveals that he was the one who shot at Obi-Wan during Order 66. It was Cody who gave out the order, and it was Kanan aboard an ATTE that took the shot. Barely missed General Kenobi. I guess, says Obi-Wan, I should thank you. Thankfully, you were a terrible shot. Jokingly, says Obi-Wan. Are you going to arrest me now? Kanan has that determination on his face. I would never surrender you to the Empire, my general, says Kanan. What they do to Jedi is pitiful, and what we did to you during Order 66 has haunted me every day since. Kanan says that even Cody, every clone that I have talked to from the 212th, says Kanan, has regretted that day. What happened during Order 66? Obi-Wan was glad to have his friend by his side once more, but the trouble is that both of them needed an escape plan. You see, Kanan knew perfectly well that they had gotten a tip. A Jedi was spotted on Tatooine, and whether it was Obi-Wan or not, they were searching every nook and cranny to find this Jedi. Things were much more serious than Obi-Wan had anticipated, and things took an even desperate turn when two stormtroopers now entered the facility searching for what happened to Kanan. Kanan, without having time to think, Kanan simply points his blaster towards Obi-Wan and orders him to not move or he will kill him right here on the spot. Kanan's plan was simple. Escort Obi-Wan, a suspected Jedi, a prisoner, to the nearest Imperial facility where they would await Inquisitors to come and take him away. Of course, both of them en route hatched a new plan, something that would help General Kenobi escape Imperial grasp. Afterward, they would simply spread a rumor that the Jedi had escaped and he was no longer on Tatooine in order to negate the Imperial presence here. Now they had arrived, but there was a problem. Inside the locker room, there were two stormtroopers guarding the entrance. Kanan started to slowly panic. Their plan would be foiled before it even began. You see, their plan was for Obi-Wan to wear a stormtrooper armor, and this way they could get him at least out of Mos Eisley. But Obi-Wan was not shaken, simply turned to Kanan and said, "Mind tricks might not work on you, my old friend, but they do on others." With a wave of his hand, he got rid of those stormtroopers. Inside the locker room, the fitting had already begun. Obi-Wan now had joined the stormtrooper corps, unofficially, of course, together with Kanan. Now they made it to the back of the facility, desperately looking for other patrols that weren't there. All of the units were called on to search the city for this secret Jedi. Now Kanan told his former general to not waste time and put the helmet on, which Obi-Wan promptly did. And it was strange, definitely strange, to see Imperial armor on Obi-Wan Kenobi, the former Jedi Master. Obi-Wan glanced at the armor. Never in his life did he think he would come to this position. And while Obi-Wan was anxious, Kanan simply thought that stormtrooper armor was looking great on his former general. He even complimented Obi-Wan. He makes a perfect stormtrooper. And with a little chuckle from Kanan, we end this part. So this is part 1, and you're not gonna want to miss part 2, believe me, because it's gonna be an adventure. Kanan and Obi-Wan are going to do a lot of special things in the parts to come, so you need to subscribe right now to not miss out on anything. Thank you so much for watching these fan comics. I'm so grateful to you guys. Hope you're having as much fun as I am making these. Let's go on this journey together. Be sure to like, comment, and share this video as much as possible.